Sir, your name?
Yeah, TV Venkateshwaran.
Okay, and your department?
I'm with Humanities and Social Sciences, HSS.
Okay, and how do you think humanities and social science is as well as important as it is for us to know science?
Okay, I mean, that was not the question that you said.
No, just teachers say that we are going to leak a question and they give the most obvious question which we know we will come, but
Okay. Yeah. See, I think we are living in a society more and more where things are interconnected.
yeah.
And if you are not aware of the wider issues, I'm not sure that we will be able to navigate in the emerging world. So it is not about science students knowing about social science, but it's also about social science people having a modicum of knowledge about what is usually called as natural science, and also about technology, and also about art. See, what is being human? Being human is being able to, appreciate what the cumulative society has produced. So, if I am a person and I am not able to, let's say, relish, let's say, mural paintings or Picasso, then am I really a human being, or am I living just the life of animal? That's a question that I think fundamentally we should ask. So I think everybody should have that opportunity to be a human. So being a human, people may have choices. Like I may like something more, somebody may like something else more. So there may be a difference in emphasis. But I think we need a much more, let's say, interconnected. That's what today, even within the science education, people are talking about as STEM.
Yeah.
So science, technology,
Engineering,
engineering,
math.
arts. So now they are also including that into the whole gamut. That's how people are looking at the whole education itself today. So yeah, that's how.
We had sociology in our first year, and there we were taught about the French Revolution and about the French philosophers and about the like modern. They were modern philosophers. They were a group of people who contradicted some ideas and what we read that like there were some people called romantic philosophers who promoted the idea of togetherness and who promoted like who thought that the institute of religion, the institutes of marriage, they were not necessary, and then some people contradicted them, so a conflict got created. Do you think that this type of conflict is necessary? Like, do you think opposing ideas are necessary for a society? And like, can you give some examples in today's world where we have one idea and we need to oppose it in order to create something better?
So first thing I want you to understand is that any knowledge inquiry will be self-critical. I mean, I'll just tell you about what I was reading yesterday. What caused the demise of dinosaurs?
Okay.
Okay, so most obvious, easy answer everybody will be giving is that
The
the
chicken
asteroid.
box yeah.
But here they were talking about it's not asteroid, but it's a Deccan volcanism. See, around that time there was a huge
Yeah, and
volcanoes.
due to the ashes and
Not just ashes, it was spewing carbon dioxide
yeah,
and sulfur
carbon
dioxide.
dioxide,
So,
poisonous gases.
yeah,
So they died.
not poisonous.
Yeah.
It was changing the Earth's climate like a seesaw from being cold to hot to cold to hot. That's a new research. I mean, somebody has done. So you can say that here is two opposing ideas. Is it asteroid or is it Deccan volcanism? Okay. It's only by that kind of critical examination you will be able to understand things better, understand things with much more confidence. So it is not just in sociology, but I think it's everywhere. So if you are coming to your question of how does it relevant to contemporary times, let's look at, for example, very simple thing like, say, for example, if there is something like Google car, I mean any car, Tesla car, whatever. Okay, how will you program it? Suppose it is in a situation where it has to make a choice. I mean that autonomous machine learning has to make a choice between hitting a person or another person. There is no other alternative. Then what will it do? How will you program it? But here you are programming it. Okay, so do you then the programmer takes the ethical responsibility? So things are even in application of technologies. Okay, so there are lots of questions. Okay, lots of issues.
So in extension to this, I would like to ask that with the introduction of AI, artificial intelligence, do you think that human rights would get somehow violated, or would humans be compromised in case of jobs or in economic sectors?
See, I think the technology does not do anything. What we do with the technology is what will decide the outcome. Okay, I mean, there was a environmentalist in India called as Anir Agarwal. Okay, he was giving a very simple example of let's say Gobar gas plant. Okay, so well, off the cuff, you might say that Gobar gas plant is good, great, green, environmentally friendly. But what he was saying is that if in a village, if somebody is putting up a Gobar gas plant, that would need the feed from roughly about 6 to 8 cattle. So, and till that time, the Gobar released by that 6 to 8 cattle was public property. Anybody can collect it.
Yeah.
But now it is becoming private property. So, would you like it or not?
Yeah.
So, what he was pointing out is that it is not the technology, but how do you
Utilize
structure
it,
it, how do you implement it in a society will make the difference. Okay, so I don't think any technology is a demon or boom. How we use it is what's going to define it.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Okay, sir, maybe know your name.
My name is Prasad. I'm a biologist.
Okay, that's a very interesting field. And can you specifically mention on what you have worked on or what you're working? Like, is it zoology, plant physiology, neurology,
I
or?
work on something that unites all of biology. I work on evolutionary biology.
Okay, it's a very interesting field. Like, so, sir, can you tell us some interesting fact which most of us doesn't know about evolutionary biology, about our past, about our ancestors?
Well, most of the times when people think of evolutionary biology, they think of millions of years and large changes and all that. The most surprising thing about evolutionary biology or evolution itself is that it is ongoing, continuous, happens all the time. It's happening to us as a species, as a population. It can happen on extremely short time scales. It can involve really large changes in heritable material or extremely small changes in heritable material. Most of the times people get surprised when you say that evolution can happen over a time span of several months. Measurable changes. It's happening all the time, but measurable changes can be seen within a few months.
Okay. And sir, I would like to mention that recently I was reading a book called Mating Minds. I cannot recall the author. I'm sorry. There the author says that
Ridley?
yeah, might be, but here he says that like things like like the best example IISER-M, cultural, like music, dance. So these things were not necessary for evolution. Like the need to evolve was to survive, to reproduce, and to let the generation progress, like to let the next generation progress. So that was the basic need for evolution. Like our ancestors did that just for survival. So things like music, art. So do you think like this does not define what Darwin says in terms of evolution?
Well, first thing is there is nothing that is needed for evolution. Evolution just happens. As long as you have variation within populations and that variation is at least partly heritable and that variation is associated with some fitness differences, Darwinian fitness differences, evolution is just an outcome. There is no need for you to do anything. So one has to be careful while using regular language to describe what happens in evolution. Quite often we put in purposefulness into evolution. I don't think there is. I don't think our ancestors were doing anything so that they could reproduce better. I don't think they care. Right? in the sense that they would not even be aware of this process probably called evolution, and therefore I have to reproduce more so that my lineage survives. I don't think anything like that was happening,
Okay.
right? Coming to the more general point of is music, art, etc. required for evolution? Again, there is nothing required. If somehow anything that you do feeds onto your Darwinian fitness, and anything that you do can be passed on from generation to generation, it will increase in frequency or decrease in frequency depending on its effects on fitness. And that over time we call as evolution. That's about it. Now, is music necessary for it? Again, I emphasize there is nothing necessary about it. But are we happy that it happened? Yes. As a human being, as TV was saying, I'm happy that we did it. I'm happy that we have art. I'm happy that we have music.
So are you a music or an art enthusiast?
I like music.
And
I like drama.
okay, so you like drama,
Yeah.
and can you name, like, do you like drama or do you like films and movies?
I like drama in the sense I like stage.
You like
I like
theater,
stage,
what we call
theatre,
theater. Okay.
I also like movies.
You like movie. Okay. Your favorite actor?
No, that's
Somebody.
a very difficult question. See, because each movie has some person who has done it really well, right? So I like this person in this movie. On an average, this person's movies are better than that person's movies. That's okay, but I don't really believe in your favorite.
A recent movie which you have watched?
Recent movie that I have watched. I watched a Kannada movie.
Okay.
That's my mother tongue.
Huh.
It's a movie called Baggage. It's a very interesting movie, very offbeat movie. It's a very famous. It's a very strange way of introducing the protagonist, a girl, in this movie. Her father is very well known, so therefore you might know. His name is Prakash Belbati. He acts in a lot of these Hindi movies.
Okay,
His
okay.
daughter has acted in it. It explores the theme of a girl moving from her high school to her job. That time arc. One of the most beautifully done movies that I've seen. It's worth watching it. I'm sure it's there on OTT platforms, and I'm sure you can get subtitles.
Yeah.
Worth watching.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Okay, sir. Can you introduce yourself? Your name?
Well, my name is Amit Kulshrestha.
Okay.
I am a mathematician at IISER-M.
Okay. I think I have to be aware from you. I am really afraid of mathematicians.
Okay, why?
Because I think they are capable of many things which most of the people aren't.
Well, that's a myth, I'll say. But anyway, that's my view.
Okay, so as you are a mathematician, and throughout history we have seen that many mathematicians or many physicists, they are fond of music. I forgot the quote. Somebody says that when he's stuck with number system, he goes to music, and when he's stuck with music, he goes to number system. Do you have some preference in music?
Well, I like semi-classical music and also
Okay.
Hindustani classical music. So I love music, yes. I started loving music at a very later stage.
Okay.
When I went to my PhD, that time I started exploring Hindustani classical music and I really loved it. So that's one interesting difference that you will find in the northern part of India as compared to southern part of India or Maharashtra or West Bengal. So all these four pieces of all these four parts of the country, they have different inclination toward music. Unfortunately, the part where I was, music is not a household thing. I mean, it's a film music which is a household thing, but the classical music or semi-classical music is actually not really well appreciated in
Okay. So you are from which part?
I'm from Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. Oh, Uttar Pradesh, I think Banaras and all, they are the
Gharanas are there, yes.
yeah.
Yes,
So
Gharanas
they are
are
the birthplace of Hindustani
That is
classical
correct.
music. Yeah.
But if you go to any typical Uttar Pradesh family, their
Okay.
child is not going to music class, right?
Uh-huh.
You'll have to find maybe 100 kids before you find one who is interested in learning classical music. But in Maharashtra, I think today every second child is going to classical music training, and that's something which I really appreciate.
And do you think mathematics has some relation with music?
Of course, yeah, and that's obvious, right?
Yeah.
What is maths for you? What I'll summarize mathematics as is that it's not numbers or it's not symbols or shapes, and those are tools to understand maths. But what exactly is maths? The way I'll say is that it's about, in a given context, try to understand patterns and then consolidate those patterns and try to conclude something out of it, make some database out of it and make nice conclusions. Uh, that's all about, that's a general thing that maths does, and music has so many patterns, so does art, so does language. Any science that we do, right, it has a structure, right? We have hypothesis and eventually we have a conclusion. This is a pattern which is evolving in all the functioning of it. So that is ubiquity of mathematics, and no doubt maths is an obvious example of maths when it comes to observing patterns and rendering them out.
So are you can you mention the specific field in mathematics in which you are working?
Oh, it's a pure mathematics, algebra. Does it scare you? One more question.
Yeah.
You use language as a tool for yourself, for your survival, or you are just interested in language? And for you, what is language?
For me, language is just
Just a tool?
just a mode of communication, I guess.
Yeah, and just as a tool or beyond it. Because if it's just as a tool, you have one way of looking at it. But if you want to create thoughts using it, if you want to strengthen your thoughts,
Okay. Yeah.
then I think it's beyond it.
Yes.
tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can use it both ways, I guess.
Yeah, see, for tool, I'll say it's just for day-to-day needs. Hello, how are you? I want 2 glasses of water. That's a tool, right? But if you want to create something new out of it,
A poem or a story, maybe in that
anything
way.
or simple thought,
Okay.
simple one sentence which is creative enough, that will require you to understand the language with its structure, with its vocabulary, and you have to make guess that for each part of a sentence, what word you are using, right? I think that is beyond a tool. And maths is also like that. If you just want to if you just want to use it, you may not be aware at occasions that you are misusing it. Stats is the best example, which
Yeah.
is highly misused even by scientists. So in order to use it, you have to understand it beyond a tool.
Sir, I have heard from my friends who are interested in mathematics that, and I have also seen that, like the backbone of science or the base of science was philosophy. Like everything arrived from philosophy. Even mathematics also derives its inspiration from philosophy. Like,
Sure.
so are you interested in philosophy?
Well, every working scientist is interested in philosophy because it's a form of
Okay,
philosophy.
no, I mean, do you read like ancient philosophy of ancient philosophers or ancient philosophers in India or in the rest of the world?
Well, not ancient ones, but recent ones, I would say.
Okay.
People like Nietzsche, I have read recently. And if you say ancient, I'll say Buddha has been one of the greatest philosophers, so I know something about him. So I am generally interested in philosophy part also, from ancient to modern.
And from philosophy, I would like to mention that there is a saying in philosophy or in a maths that if you can't prove something, then it's not real. Like if you're unable to provide a satisfactory explanation to him, like if I am unable to explain something to you correctly, then that thing doesn't exist. Like there was some
I'm
work in
always
philosophy.
confused about this word real. People say real life thing and all that. I don't know what terms you define the word real. the usage of the word real in the sentence will make sense only after you give me your definition, you give me your perception of real. So just saying that real world or real world problem or something exists or does not exist, existence is again it's a creation of mind, right? Something may exist for me in my mind, for you it may not exist. So the real or existential thing they are not really absolute.
But from a perspective of biology, like how does biology define existence? Or
I don't know. I want to go back to what Amit was saying, right?
okay, no, biologists look for proof, right? In the maybe in the fossils, deep into the sea, to find.
These are instantiations of various interests, nothing more than that. But that is something more deeper, which is, let's say, taste. Does taste exist? Is it real? What do you think?
I think that's yeah. I mean, if I have senses, if I have my nerves properly working, then they will be able to sense the chemical changes going on and a signal to a brain which will perceive the way that yeah, it's sweet, it's salty, or it's sour. I mean, yes,
Let me extend this argument. I can give you the same cake to you and the three of us. Okay? And I can show you experimentally that we will taste it different.
Okay.
So does taste exist?
Maybe.
Let's extend it.
Yeah.
So therefore, outside of the human experience, is anything real?
Outside the human experience. Okay, we will perceive
If
it.
taste is only what I perceive,
Yeah.
and what I perceive is real, then outside of the human experience, is anything real?
Our general conscience would say that it's not.
So then we have a totally different argument to make, right?
Okay. So,
But if
sir,
things can exist outside of the human experience and can be real, then we have a different argument to make. Which is why what Amit's argument is very important. First define what is real. And there are interesting things that comes out of it, even with biology. We know that all of us don't perceive the same kinds of colors. It is claimed that some of us have 3 different kinds of color receptors and some might have more, and some definitely have less. So you can have humans that are sensitive to color range starting from just sort of black and white, greyish tones to all the way to extremely beautiful vivid colors. So for each one of us, our view of the world can be different in terms of colors. In terms of taste, it can be different, right? Certainly a few years ago there was this craze about whether the dress looks blue
Yeah,
or golden
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that, right? Similarly, you can do experiments with your hearing. Our hearing changes person to person, and even as we age, our hearing changes, right? Point being that if what you are arguing is true, then what is real is changing from person to person. And for me, across my age, the real world for me is very unique. My real world is not shared by him or him. Well, you can argue that that's very beautiful, you can argue that's very scary, but it's a valid question.
that's true. And my last question would be, sir, how do you like? I would just continue it. So how do you define reality?
I don't think that question, like how do you define reality, can be actually explored. I mean, because there are lots of nuances and we know about it. You were asking, right? I mean, when you were studying sociology, there are two views. Similarly, there is a deep thought about what constitutes reality. Is there something reality beyond human being? That is a very deep thought. I think we need to understand that and then go forward. Okay, so it's not the last word. I mean, as long as human beings are there, I mean, our thought will get deepening. So from that, I mean, there are two ways of looking at it, that beyond the personal experience, there is nothing. The other one is that there is something real outside human experience, which is the within quotes causes for the experience that we have, including the different experience that we have. Because many times we can, even if our senses are different, our perceptions are different, the referent becomes common, right? So there are two sides to this coin. I think as a student we need to engage. As a teacher, none of us wants to give our view as the view, because that is not the purpose, right?
And sir, one last and final question. Be You being an expert in sociology, I would ask that like, do we, every individual, need to move out from society and live in solitude for some time being, so that we can discover ourselves and we can look differently into the world?
I think everyone does, right? I mean, even if they don't move out of the house, even if they don't walk out of the house, everyone does. Sometimes, I mean, your own mother might say that leave me for some time, right? So fine. I think people need to think, people need to reflect. Maybe people are not happy about the situation they are in. There may be many reasons for being alone. So I think, of course, if it is for wrong reasons, like, I mean, if it is going to push them towards depression or something like that, I think as a friend, family and society, we should give our helping hand. But for reflection, for pondering things, for even, want to be just take a chill, I think fine. I think we should.
Thank you, sir.